Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be looking into how you can run a function in JavaScript across multiple pages. So we're going to be using the local storage part of the browser so we can store in the state of our function, how far through we've progressed, and then we can then listen to see what's happened on the page and then adjust our function and then continue running through the rest of it so it can work between these page loads. This video, the example I'm going to be using is a coupon autofill function. So we have a list of coupons that we want to apply to our basket. So I've made up a pretend site here just with a basket on it, and there's some coupons that will work and there's some that won't. So I'll show you now what the site looks like. Okay, so here is the site just here on the left, so ignore the code on the right for now. We'll get to that in a moment. So as you can see, we just have a example order total over here and a list of coupon codes that are valid. So if I was to type in one of these, so 320 and apply the discount, it's made a difference. If I was to get rid of that and apply the discount, it takes it away. So it's really, really simple. That's runs on the back end. I'll share all the code of this afterwards as well. But that's how that works. And then I have this function over here. So if I click this button, it's going to run through an array of coupons that we have. So it's actually these ones over here. So one of these is in this array or in this list. So that should be the coupon that we use. So straight away for this first example, it's not going to reload the page, but we can see what it does here. So if I click this button, you can see it's checking each of the coupons, checking what the order total does, and then it will tell us which one was the best. So we've got this one here that made a difference, so it then applies that afterwards. So that's how it works there. I'll run through the code in a moment and show exactly how this works. So if I was to change this from need reload false to need reload true, what this is going to do is going to reload the page each time. So I'm just going to add the console over here. And if we just refresh and run this function again, so if we click this button now, it's saying wait for the page to reload. So imagine this example that when we click apply discount, this is telling the server to check this coupon and it reloads the page. But because this is just an example, I'm just going to be that server. So I'll just click reload each time it asks. So it's going to check that coupon and then it's asking for us to reload again. So I'll press it again. It's going to reload, check that one. It's going to reload again. Here it goes. And then one more time. And there we go. And it still knows which one was the best out of all of those times. So even though it reloaded the page and the session changed, it still kept the status of our function in between all of these calls. So as you can see, there's our coupon winner there. And I click OK and it applies it again. Now this works because of local storage. Now what we're doing is we're setting an object that we keep updating each time we run our function. So I'll go through the code in a moment, but that's in a sense how this works. So we have the local storage that we create an object with, and then we update this object each time and then run a function again. And when that function loads, it first goes into local storage to see, are we in the middle of running this function? So if we are, it continues the process. And if we haven't run the function and we've asked it to start, it starts running it, if that makes sense. So this, you can see all of this from the application tab just here. And then if you go to local storage, so if I reload this now with this open, you should see this actually as it moves. So if I click begin here, you can see what it's doing. So I'll just expand this window a little bit, move this up. So what we're doing here is we have our selector object. So in this example, to apply a coupon code, a few different things you need to have. So instead of just writing it for one particular site, if you're writing a Chrome extension, for example, you need it to make sure it works across lots of different websites. So it's important to bear this in mind when you're creating your code. So some checkout processes have the coupon that you enter the coupon and then press enter. Some of them you enter the coupon, then press a button. Some of them the page needs to reload. Other times it all works on the page. So you enter it, it presses a button, and then that will call that behind the scenes without reloading the page. So that time you might need to set a number of seconds, then wait for the page to change and then go in and grab the basket. So as you can see down here, this is what we're doing. So we have the cost field, such as this area just here. We have a cost field prefix, so that's to make sure that we remove the $sign, the pound sign, or anything like this. So if that's one character, we just remove that from the front of the string. We then have the coupon type. So this is, as I mentioned, is it a button we have to press, or do we have to press enter? This is if the page needs to reload or not. So that's the thing I changed earlier. So if it doesn't need to reload, we call the function and then just wait and use the timer. If it does need to reload, instead of waiting to grab the changes to the basket total on this page, we wait for the page to reload and then run it once the page has opened. So I'll show you that in a moment. Then we get the coupon field, so that's just this input just here, and then the submit button, so that's this button just here. And then we have a wait time. So this is how many milliseconds we should wait for the page to change. So sometimes some pages take a little bit longer than others for us to go in and make this check. That's what we have here. Then we have a function, a variable here, that checks to see if the extension or if the code is running. So in this example, it is running. So that means when I press reload, because it's waiting for me to reload just here, that's how it knows to carry on this same check. So here we have the start basket value. So actually this is wrong because I ran this after we had run it before. It had the basket total already reduced. So that'd be interesting to see how that runs there. So here's the current coupon that it's checking. So we keep a track of which one we're checking. And then up here is what I need to show you here. This is the coupons that it's checked. So if I refresh the page here, as if it was going to go through the actual checks, you can see now it's updated and said that we've already checked this coupon. And hang on, let's just check this properly. So if we now refresh the page, wait 2 seconds, you can see here's the checks again. So there's the best deal. So that's this one just here. It's seen what the value was when it applied that code, and it knows that coupon was the one that had the best deal. And then there's the ones that it's checked. It's currently in the process of checking this next coupon ID. So if we then see that it's waiting for us to reload, so if we go back to this page here and refresh, we should see it update this array just here. There you go, it's added the next one. And in the meantime, it's now checking the next code. So it's going through each one, making these checks. And the reason there's that slight delay is because, as we mentioned over here, we have it set to 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds. So that's how it works from this view just here on the front end. Now let's actually look at the code and see how it's actually doing this. Okay, so here is the code that we're running on this page. The first thing we have here is our selector object. So as I mentioned, it's created in a way that can be adapted to work on lots of different sites. So as we see just here, we have our coupons. This is our array of coupons that we want to check. Now, probably when this function's actually being used in an extension, this you would pass in as the last item. So you would have all of this set up for your actual site. So you might bring that in from your database perhaps, where you actually have the different information for each site that your extension works on. And then your coupons would be in a similar way, but probably stored somewhere else. So that's how we have that. Then we have our coupon field, as we mentioned a minute ago, our submit button, if it needs to reload or not, that'd be true or false. Our coupon types, that'd be button or enter. Our wait time in milliseconds. Our cost field, so how much the query parameter of this over here, the query selector of this ID here, so this is a class name, same as this one up here, and then the prefix of our basket value. So then what we have done here is we're using our local storage. This is the first place you'll see this. If the run checks part of our local storage item is running, then continue running checks. Simple as that. And then down here, we just have a simple event listener that starts new checks. So if we're not automatically running this in the background because we started it already, we're adding a click event to this button here so we can start this function and begin it to run. So if we scroll up, I'll show you a little bit more of what this does. So the first piece of JavaScript we have on this page is just we're creating a new object for our function, and then that includes everything else afterwards. So here is our run coupon check. We set an empty array for our set coupons, but we don't really need to do that just here. And then here is the first sort of main function that we call. So we have our run check function just here, which takes in the selector object and the status. So this is by default, it'll be start. So we want to start the function. But if you want to continue, so if we want to run this over page loads, then it will say continue. It's not just over page load. So for this example, we use it in between each check so that it works both ways. So here we go, we check what the status is. So if the status is start, there's a few things that we need to set in here first. So as you can see, we set the run checks part of the local storage to running. So you just set that like this, set item, the name of the item, and then the value in here. Down here we get the basket value. So if I just move this across a bit, be a bit easier to see. So we get the basket value. So we're using our selector object cost fields. This is the class name that we passed in that object at the start. So we use it in the query selector just here, and then grab the contents of that element. So that'll grab this part just here. Then what we do is we make sure that we turn this into a format that we can know is going to be there. So this might be a string, it might be a number, but we make sure that we have it as a float with 2 decimal places. So in this example, it's sent column or part of this string just here. We then set this as the starting basket value for a function. So we need to know what the basket is starting at before we run anything. So we can compare the different coupons against this. Next, we add another part to our coupon checks object just here. So we have our best deal. So this is where we check later down the function when we're running to see which coupon is best. We compare it against this. So we start by having the existing basket value that we added just here, and then we add a space in here to say which coupon was best. And then we just set another array here that is all the coupons that we've checked. Then we just set this, so we say our current coupon, we set that to the local storage as well, so which one are we checking at the moment. We set that to empty, but we make sure that that's in the local storage. We have a console log here, which is useful just to see how this is progressing, so it's ideal for when you're creating this. So I'll share all the code as I mentioned with this video. And then we are setting this all to our coupon checks part of our local storage, but make sure to turn this from an object into a JSON string. So in local storage, it's not stored as variables that you can access, through an object. You have to make sure it's just a string. So you convert that just here, and then that is all that you need for starting this. If we want to then continue running the function, that is this part of the code just here. So as you can see, the first thing that we need to do is grab the existing selector object. So it's important that we're not setting this each time. So we save this in the local storage, and then we use JSON pass to make sure this is now a object that we can interact with and we can use. We do the same thing for the coupon checks just here. So this is the object that we just created, so that we do it for the selector one and for coupon checks. Then we just have a bit of logging to the console to say we're continuing. This isn't a brand new run of the function, we're continuing it here. What we have here is a check to see, are we partway through checking one of our coupons? So we say, what is the current coupon? If it's empty, we don't need to do this, but if it isn't empty, continue checking this. So to give an example, if the page has to reload each time, what will happen is we have the first part of the coupon check is where we enter the coupon into the input field here and then press the button, and then the page will reload. And then when the function first runs after that, it will get to this point of our code, and then we want to make sure we return false, so it stops running any code after this, and then it continues to check this coupon. So in this example, what that would do is it will grab the basket value there and compare it against the start basket to see, did it reduce the cost at all? So if we're not currently checking one, it continues down. So we have just this here is a check to see, is our selector object valid in a sense? So you'll probably check this a bit more detail, but this just shows how you can see if we have a query selector property on this object. So that's where we select the input field just here. Otherwise, if it is there, we just continue to run the function. So that's where we have this here. So if it doesn't have that, we kill the function there. Otherwise, we continue down. So next, we just set an array of coupons into a more accessible variable just here. So you could use a let or a const here, but again, we've just got this as a variable keeping this all simple here. And we have our current coupon name. So we're just setting a variable just here, along with our next check coupon. So what this basically does is we have our array of coupons that we want to check, and we have our current coupon. And then we create a for loop that loops through this array of coupons. And we're checking to see if this coupon has been checked already. So we have our array of checked coupons and our array of all of our coupons. So what we're basically doing is we're saying, has this coupon been checked yet? If it has, don't do anything. But if it hasn't, add this to our next checked or next check coupon. And so this means one coupon at a time we'll be checking. So this normally means we'll be checking the last coupon of the array. So as it's looping through everything, this is going to overwrite each one, but that's fine for this example. So we'll grab that last part of our array that hasn't been checked yet and set this to this next check coupon. So then further down here, what we're doing is we're saying if next check coupon isn't empty, then we have a coupon that we need to check. So we pass that into check coupon start with our selector object and the name of the coupon that we want to check. I'll show you what that part does next, but otherwise, if there isn't any coupon in here, so if this is empty, that means that we've checked all of our coupons. So all we need to do next is tidy up and display the result of running this function. So we would just clear out the next run checks so that we're not going to run the function when the page reloads. And we just say to the console to stop running this function. And we then make a check to see what was the best deal. So in this code just here, we know that we have a name of our best deal. So a coupon has won, essentially, this comparison. So what we do is we run this function again so that the coupon is applied to our basket, because what might happen if you run 3 different coupons and the first one was the best deal, but we've ended the function on that third one that wasn't the best deal, we want to make sure that we reapply that coupon to our basket, in this example anyway. So we can see that. Then we just set an alert just here to say which coupon was best. You would probably want to display this in a nicer way, but for this example, that's all that we really need. If this best coupon name was empty though, that means that we didn't find either our coupons are invalid or they didn't make any difference to our basket. So we basically want to say that they already have the best price. So we just return that there and make sure that we apply just an empty coupon just here. But that depends on what you need for your function. And then all we're doing after that is removing all of these items that we've created from our local storage. So it basically just cleans everything up there. So as I mentioned a minute ago, the check coupon start part of the function here. So we have 2 parts of where we check our coupons. So just up here where we're running through all of our coupons, we make a call to get coupon start. And as we mentioned earlier, if we're currently, if the page is reloaded and we get to this point, I want to say check coupon end. So I'll show you what those 2 parts do next. Okay, so the first part of the check is to apply the coupon into the input field and either press the apply discount button or the add coupon button, or press enter onto that input field. So as you can see here, what we're doing is we're setting an item just here to say what coupon we're currently checking. So that's if it needs to reload. We grab the input field here for our coupon, and then we apply our coupon name into the value there. And then we check to see, is this a button we need to press, or do we need to press enter? If we need to press a button, we click the button. If we need to press enter, we fire off an event that would simulate that enter press. So what we do next is we check if the page needs to reload. If it does need to reload, we don't do anything. So we want to leave that to the page to reload, and then we wait for the time the function runs next to take that on and deal with that then. If it doesn't need to reload, so if it's false, we then call the check coupon end. And then we have this check up here. This is where, as we mentioned at the end, if we've found out our winning coupon, we have this check just here so that we don't run this extra check. So all we're doing there is we want to just apply it onto our page just here and submit it. So that's that part. So on check coupon end, what we're doing here is this is where where we wait for the function. So we have that amount of milliseconds that we're going to wait. So we first have a timeout that just waits this amount of time. And then once that timeout has completed, we run this code here. So as you can see, there's a little bit of stuff here, but it's really simple. So again, we're saying what is the coupon that we're currently checking. So we get all of our updated information. We grab the basket value. So we use our cost field query selector just here and grab the value of this basket again. So we apply that here. We then take away any prefix. That's what we use just here. So substring and then 1 in this example, or whatever your prefix is. And we then just do a check here. So is this lower than the basket started with? We then need to make another check. Is this lower than the current best deal? If it is, we have a new best deal, and we apply that to our coupon checks object. So we do coupon checks, best deal, and then update that basket value. And then be sure here to make sure we set this again to a float. So it's a number that we can compare with for other things. So just so everything's consistent, because you never know if the basket is going to have a pence or a cents part to that as well. So it's best to convert that. And then we just set the coupon name in here. Otherwise, we just have a console log here just for debugging and checking to say this is not the best discount. But otherwise, that's all fine. And then we just push this onto the array of our checked coupons so that we make sure that we're not going to check these coupons more than once. You don't want to end in a an ever-going loop. And then we just update our coupon checks. So again, we turn it into a JSON string. We take away our current coupon, so we finish checking that. So we remove that from the local storage. This is just a piece of code just here where you test, where we're mimicking if it was going to send that to the server, so we can ignore that. And then we go on to the next function. So as you can see here, if we want it to continue, so after every time the page loads, we would have a check there. I'll show you in a moment. And at the end of checking this coupon, we make the same call to run that main function again. But we don't pass in our selector object because we're continuing, not starting. So that's almost everything. There's just one more part I want to show you down here. So as we mentioned, we grab the status from our local storage to see if we're running or not. And then if the status is running, we continue that run check. And if it's not, we just add that event listener, which I think I mentioned already. Now, if you're interested to see how we do this apply discount, we just have a check coupon deal function over here. And it just says, here's our list of valid coupons. Is the value of that input field in that array? If it is, we just have a hard-coded part here that changes the basket value. So that's really simple. But if you're using this out in the wild, you don't need that at all. But as I mentioned, all the code for this has been shared with this video. If you have any questions on the way this has worked in this video, or adding a function of your own that can work across multiple page loads, feel free to leave a comment and I'll be happy to take a look and see if I can help. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this and subscribe to the channel for more content like this as well. Anyway, thanks for watching.